All right, you are listening to Geek Vice, the official podcast of nothingness. Now, our host, the man who thinks the Philadelphia cheesesteak is a sports team, Morph.
That is awesome. I love your little quips at the beginning.
I wish they were funnier, but I just make them up as I go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Geek Vice, episode number 70. That's right, 70. A podcast by two geeks just trying to be heard in a world now flooded with geeks. I'm Morph, your bartender for the zombie apocalypse that sucks at bartending because he's just drinking water. And the other guy over there is Kip. He's the man with amazing quips.
And who is also drinking water. But earlier, the wife and I shared 2 beers.
Whoa.
3 beers. We shared 3 beers.
So
we each had a beer and a half.
I was going to say, so does that mean you got 2 and she got 1? Or
Actually, I think she drank more of the beer than I did. It's the stuff you guys left behind at our last game night.
Well, that was actually quite a while ago. So.
One of them was a vanilla bean from Buffalo Sweat.
Ooh, that one's a good one.
Actually, it was really good.
Yeah.
And the other one was a Dark Horse? Hell, I don't remember.
Dark Horse is a comic book company. So
yeah, they make a hell of a beer. I'm always going to go grab the bottle since I'm too lazy and I'm connected to the computer.
It tastes like paper.
Tastes like paper.
Tastes like paper and superheroes. What else do you need?
It tastes like paper and desperation.
So, all right, everybody. Here's what we got in store for you tonight.
Oh, it's Dark Side.
Dark Side.
Come to the dark side.
So that's still like a DC comic. That's a DC comic bad guy, except side is spelled wrong.
Well, this is a vanilla porter. What's funny is the vanilla bean by Buffalo Sweat tasted like coffee, and the vanilla porter by Dark Side didn't taste like vanilla either. So people who make beer do not know what vanilla tastes like.
Usually that stuff gets hidden under all the other flavors. If you put a lot of vanilla in there, it tends to get a little too sweet.
Yeah, well.
So you have to be careful with the amount of vanilla you put into.
I just didn't expect to take a swig of something called vanilla bean and go, wow, that's coffee. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I can understand that.
You know, it happens.
So we've got a interesting episode for you here tonight.
At least in our opinions.
Yeah, we're going to kind of mix up our normal format a little bit and kind of go to our main topic first, and then we'll kind of go to our little roundtable things afterwards, because our main topic has to do with a local event here in Kansas City that happened over the weekend. That is Planet Comic-Con.
Woo!
Here's where you need the cheers from the beginning of our studio audience needs to go nuts.
Well, they are nuts if there are studio audience. There we go.
There they are. So, Planet Comic-Con is a comic book convention held here in the Kansas City area, down at Bartle Hall, and that means nothing to anyone who is not from Kansas City or been to Kansas City. But it's a big deal, and Kip and I made our first appearance at a comic book convention.
Too much fanfare.
Yeah, I mean, we had droves and droves of people looking for us.
I just felt like I was crowded in by the rush of fans the whole time I was there.
Yeah, because they were all there to see us.
Exactly. They don't know this, but it's the way it really was.
Pretty much. But so, for anyone who hasn't been to Planet Comic-Con, I'm going to guess it's like your typical comic book convention. It has an artist alley with a whole bunch of artists selling their wares, whether it's prints that they already have done or little commissions that they would do right there on the spot, which I always think is kind of cool. And watching anybody draw as well as these guys do is pretty much just amazing to me.
Anybody with any kind of artistic talent is amazing to me.
Yeah. I mean, I can't do any of that stuff, but even just there was a couple artists that were there that, like, as you're walking by their booth looking at their stuff, they're sitting there just drawing something up, and you're just like, holy crap, the speed at which they're drawing it and how good it looks does not make sense to me. I can't draw anything that fast and make it look that good. Hell, I can't draw anything slow and make it look that good. So
well, there is that. It's not the speed. It's the ability.
That's what she said.
Uh-huh.
So
it's not how fast you draw, it's how you move the pen.
So they also had a bunch of booths of comic book companies or comic book shops selling stuff, merchandise, whether it was statues or comic books or T-shirts or action figures. There's a little Lego booth, which was really kind of cool, selling all kinds of Lego stuff. Got to see the Marvel Helicarrier Lego set all put together in its.
That was really cool. That was that had to take some time.
That looks massive and very time consuming. That is not one that I'm going to have my 6-year-old try to put together himself.
What?
Unfortunately, looking at the price tag for that thing, I'm not sure I will ever get to put that thing together, but I can dream about it. So, also got to see some celebrities there. There were, if I would have had my program with me, I could actually pull off some of the people that were actually there. But there was some celebrities like Scott Wilson from The Walking Dead, Michael Rooker from The Walking Dead and Guardians of the Galaxy, Robbie Amell from The Flash, he plays Firestorm. There was 2 Red Rangers there, which you could tell they were hugely popular by the size of the line to get their autograph.
That's right, standing room only.
Ming-Na Wen was there, and she is Agent May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was Karen Gillan. Let's see, who else was there? Raphael Sbarge.
Stephen Amell was there.
Yeah, he was there on Sunday.
He was there. Jerry the King Lawler was there.
That's right. Yeah, Stephen Amell was going to be there on Saturday. However, he couldn't make it because he was busy doing another panel for another convention or presser type thing on Saturday, and that actually got put out on the interwebs that you can watch in full, so it is proof that he was there. So that was kind of cool. I was trying to look up real quick where that was at. At PallyFest 2015, there was a Arrow / Flash panel, mostly Arrow though. So yeah, there was all kinds of people there. There was tabletop gaming going on there. There was video gaming there. A lot of panels.
A lot of good cosplay going on.
There was some really good stuff. I still think the best one that I saw, in my opinion, had to have been that Maleficent costume when we were walking in.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. I'll have to give it to her.
Yeah.
We'd post all the pictures we took, but we didn't want to stop traffic.
Yeah. So, should we start with the stuff that was a little frustrating, or should we start with the stuff that we liked?
I just say we go chronologically. What the hell?
Okay, start us off there, Mr. Kip.
Well, the first thing I noticed was we got in there and it's like, holy hell, this line is long, but it went pretty fast, and got through it in no time at all. I thought when we first got there, I thought, you know what, my legs are going to be tired by the time we finish this line, that I'm just going to go sit down somewhere and cry. But actually, we went through it pretty fast, and I actually got to see some of the convention before I had to sit down and cry. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was actually really impressive. I don't know if every convention does this, since this is really the only convention I've ever been to. But the advance purchase, the way they had it set up was you showed up with a QR code. You walked up to a big long line of booths. There was probably 10, 12 booths there. People taking your advanced order.
Yeah, just basically scanning your...
Yeah, scanned the QR code, handed you a bracelet, and moved you on your way. It was the fastest check-in I've ever been to for any kind of event.
That's true, and and they had that really cute girl who put the bracelet on your wrist when you got done. When you were standing there acting helpless, she's like, "Well, let me do this for you," and you're like, "Well, if you insist."
Which, of course, we took advantage of fully.
Well, naturally.
Yeah, why wouldn't we?
Exactly.
So yeah, that was awesome, and then of course you get dropped right into the middle of everything, which wasn't too bad. I was actually kind of surprised right there at the entrance when you get into the actual convention spot. I expected to be hit with like a wall of too many people. People who just kind of walk in and stop and don't move anywhere and just block traffic, but I didn't feel like that was the case. It didn't really feel like that until you kind of got around the corner a little bit, and then it felt like traffic kind of stopped.
Yeah, it just stopped when there was something very popular that everybody wanted to see. Like Scotty Young's art or something like that. That's where everybody was, and you had to really be creative to pick a hole and go through. But
yeah, and that would probably be my one complaint, is that I understand that they need to get as many booths in there as possible, but there seemed to be a lot of dead space in areas that could have been used to add a little bit more walking space in aisles where you had displays, where you had, especially the artists area, the artist, they call it Artist Alley, not really an alley, because, well, I don't know, maybe it is, because it's awfully narrow. It is really hard to be able to stop and look at the artwork without feeling like you've got people pushing you over to get past you.
Yeah, that's true. And it's all right there at the beginning. Well, not like right when you walk in the door, but probably like in the first, 50 feet?
Yep.
And and then I could, there for a while, I just kept asking you, have we gone down this aisle? Because you're either trying to watch in front of you so you don't step on somebody, or you're checking out a costume, or you're actually, something did catch your eye that's in a booth, but I didn't see everything.
Yeah.
When I walked down an aisle, so there'd be times we come back the other way and it's like, have we gone down this aisle? And luckily you pay more attention than I do, so you could tell me where I was. But it was definitely sensor overload.
Oh yeah, it definitely was, and I can see how people could spend a lot of time at those things, especially kind of that same aspect of you go through once and you see these things, and you go through again and you don't see and you see different things. It's definitely cool seeing all the different artwork and all the different people. We got a few business cards from some of the artists, which I'm actually going to look up, because I picked up some business cards of people that I wanted to get some art from, but didn't take a whole lot of cash with me on purpose. I could have easily spent a few $1,000s on just artwork and comic books there. That probably wouldn't have been hard to do at all.
No, just the artwork alone. There were some things that I was like, man, I would love to have that in my man cave or something like that. It was just,
Oh yeah,
this stuff is just kicks butt.
there
I
was.
saw a lot of Nightmare Before Christmas
Oh
artwork.
yeah.
That
Hmm.
was just fantastic. I could have probably spent like 3 or 4 paychecks on just that stuff alone.
Yeah, and there was the one booth that had God, and I wish I would have. I kind of wish I would have taken notes so that you could actually give these people some credit. But there was a booth that was all like hand paintings of scenes from movies.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
That was those were awesome. They were so good and so clear that you could actually like that was kind of fun was just sitting there. That was one of the aisles that didn't have a whole lot of traffic on it, so you could, or at least the point that we went through didn't have as much traffic on it, and you could sit there and look at like just try to guess the movies that were there, and that was kind of fun. There was a couple artists that had big like almost like scroll canvases of different like just headshots of characters that they'd done, and it was kind of fun. We went there with our friend Jason, and it was kind of fun sitting there trying to name all the different characters, and um, I mean there was some really good artwork there. Got to give
It
those guys
was.
props.
Yeah, definitely. Just to have that kind of ability alone would be just fantastic. But if we go next year, which I'm hoping we do, I want to like take a tally of how many of each character in in cosplay did we see. I mean, I'd like to
Oh,
know
that would be a good one. Yeah,
how many Captain Americas, how many Arrows, how many Canaries.
there were definitely a lot of arrows and canaries. A lot
Big
of green
time.
arrows, a lot of canaries. Um, there was a few that could have gone either way, whether they were Canary or Black Widow.
Yeah.
Very, very similar outfits, and if they didn't have like a specific like, there was one lady who actually had like a staff like Canaries, and so it was you could tell she wanted she was there to be Canary. Um, Not everybody wore wigs to really differentiate. Um, so
It was probably too hot for him, which I couldn't blame him.
yeah, it was a pretty warm day in KC for to be dressed up in a costume. I did see one. There was one costume there that I saw, and I don't know if you saw it, but it was a girl who was dressed up as Toothless uh, from How to Train a Dragon.
Yes, and she carried that dragon on the back.
Yeah, and it looked
Yeah.
like the dragon, the costume actually would flip up over her head, but man, she was just drenched. She looked like she was so miserably hot. And then I got
Yeah.
to looking at that costume. It was like full, like it looked like leather or vinyl or something to make this gigantic dragon. And it's like, oh my goodness, that would be like there would be no airflow through that thing at all. I could see her being just heat exhaustion inside that convention in that costume.
Oh
I
yeah,
felt so
just
sorry for
picture,
her.
picture yourself wrapped in a sleeping bag, walking around a room with 20,000 people bumping up against you. That's what that poor girl was going through.
Yeah, yeah, it was a little nuts, but it was really good. I mean, it was a good looking costume. I gotta give her credit for that one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
There was
there were some fantastic. Some of these people spent some cash, spent some time putting together some really nice costumes. I'm big into the cosplay thing. Anybody who wants to do that is like, you've got my respect.
yeah, it's I mean that's hard work to not only put this stuff together because I know a lot of those people they don't just go out and buy a costume. They, you know, they're taking the time to make that thing from scratch, and that to me that's impressive work.
Yeah,
Again, it's something I can't do, so yeah, we
yeah, same here. All I know is next year. So this year, never gone to Planet Comic Con, so I just went in with, I know nothing. I'm just going to take it all in and see what happens. Next year, I'm getting the events and the round tables, and I'm going to actually plan my attack on the thing.
Yeah.
That way I can send it on some panels, do some board gaming, stuff like that.
Yep, absolutely. And I definitely think, like, I even think that, this year we got there at noonish. The event starts at 10. I think next year we'll be there when the gates open at 10. Like, I think you could hit some panels, hit the artist alley early, get some stuff before they sell out, because there was a lot of places like Jason Aaron, who is a local writer for some comic books and is very popular with Marvel as well as some of his independent stuff that he's done. And a lot of his books were actually sold out by the time we got there, even just a couple hours in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely would have to plan of attack on some of the actual things that panels that we'd want to see, and plan of attack on actually how much money I'm going to be willing to spend on artwork.
Set yourself a budget, huh?
Yeah, there's going to have to be a budget. There was a reason why I went into this one. Again, much like you, never been to Planet Comic-Con before, and I definitely I went in with no money for a reason, because if I've got cash in my pocket and enough to spend on stuff, I found stuff for all the kids in the house. I found some stuff for all the kids in the house and me. Yeah, there was definitely some stuff I would love to hang up in a nerd room if I had a nerd room. Which I look around and I guess this is kind of my nerd room.
I was going to say, isn't every room you walk into a nerd room?
No, well, there's at least a nerd in that room.
Yeah, semantics.
But yeah, I definitely recommend Planet Comic-Con to anyone who has not been before.
Even if you're not super into comics, there's a lot to see and do.
If you like artwork, it's definitely worth going to. And if it could even be worth your while to check out the panels, because some of the panels really didn't have as much to do with comics as it had to do. There was one panel that was just starting as I think it was starting as we were leaving. That was like sexuality and cosplay, which could have been an interesting discussion. Had some professional cosplayers that were gonna lead that panel discussion, and that could have turned out really interesting to listen to.
Yeah, there was, when I got home, I pulled out the program and started going through, and it's like, damn it, if I would have known that was there, I would have stayed.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I wasn't a seasoned veteran of the con, so I did some missteps, but next year I'm all over this bad boy.
That's right. That is right. So, yeah, we could do that, and maybe next year I'll actually plan ahead, and maybe I'll have my phone that can actually work. I tried to use Twitter while I was in there at the Comic-Con, and apparently T-Mobile does not work inside Bartle Hall very well. And the Wi-Fi connection there was so inundated with everyone else on it that it wasn't a very good signal. So unfortunately, I was unable to tweet much, but next year I will plan ahead and come up with a backup plan for that, and we will make that happen. We'll get some tweet ups or meetups or whatever they call them in the Twitterverse.
Yeah, something. I'm sure whatever you and I call it, that'll be like, oh, that's what they called it last year. We don't call it that anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'm only just now getting into Twitter, so yeah.
There you go. Well, maybe, T-Mobile could sponsor something or bring in something to increase their range, because, yeah, Verizon worked great, by the way, just so you know.
Maybe by next year I'll just have Verizon. Maybe I'll have to switch to Verizon just for that one day.
Yeah. How much is it just for a day contract?
Yeah. All right, so we did Planet Comic-Con. That was fun, and
Yes, we did.
you watched a new TV show.
Well, new is relative. It's new to me. It's called Black Sails. It's on the Starz network. And basically, it is about Captain Flint from Treasure Island. 20 years before Treasure Island's book is supposed to take place. So you're on Nassau. It's where all the pirates hang out. It's on Starz. It's about pirates. So there's cursing, there's nudity, there's blood. Pretty much right in my wheelhouse. Especially the nudity part. But that's okay. We saw season 1. Season 2 is ongoing. And it's called Black Sails. It's about pirates. You're thinking, going to spend a lot of time on the ship. No, I'd say 3/4, 80% on land. And I don't know if that's because of budgetary reasons or if that was actually because of the story. But it didn't matter. It's a great show. If you get a chance to catch Black Sails, do it. Do it now.
I'm sure there'd have to be a lot of creative editing in order to get them on the boat, since it takes so long to sail a boat anywhere in that time period.
Yeah. And there's a scene where, not to give too much away, but they go into battle with a Spanish man of war.
Ooh.
And that thing turns broadside on him, and it has like 20 cannons on one side. And when that thing unleashed, it was like, holy shit, this is awesome!
That is cool.
Yeah.
That
So,
is cool.
but you know, I was looking it up, and Captain Flint is from Treasure Island. There's another captain, Captain Charles Vane, who was actually a real person back in the day, back when this is all taking place. He was an actual pirate. So it's like, well, that's pretty cool. So now I'm going to have to remember people's names and look them up and see if they were actually people or characters from books. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Cool.
So they did their research, and apparently I should too, but I did not.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, since you like that so much, you should check out. You should borrow this. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That's a big pirate, and you'll actually get to battle against those Spanish man of war ships.
Is that the one that came out last year?
Yes.
Or 2013?
Yeah, 2013.
Okay.
I think is when that came out.
I think that's the one I started to play, and I got onto the island where you chased the guy at the beginning.
Yep.
And couldn't figure out how to find him, and said, "Wow, I'm having no fun." Turned it off.
Yeah. What I'll do is I will just save. I'll make a copy of my saved game onto a flash drive. We'll bring it over. You can load that up, and then you'll have everything, and you'll have your boat, and then you can just sail around in your boat, blowing up.
That's right, because if you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's
not cheating. That's just getting you to the best part of the game.
We're skipping the foreplay. We're just going straight to it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I'll have to give that game another try once I finish the other 500 games that I got that are unfinished.
Well, and then not only did you watch Black Sails over this last week, but you watched some more of the Musketeers.
Did watch the Musketeers. So it was totally, a 17th, 18th century TV watching weekend. The Musketeers is a BBC show. Did I talk about this last week?
I believe you talked a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm just talking about shit all the time, so I never know when I've said what. And when we got it, it's like, what? I haven't seen a good Musketeers anything. I hated all the American versions. So I was not overly optimistic on this one, but I really like it. We watched season 1. And I think, again, it's one of those where season 2 is ongoing right now. So when season 2 is in the can and out on DVD, I'll watch it. But it's just fun. It's just,
Yeah.
and the beauty of it is the sword fighting is probably what in my estimation, be more realistic. It's a lot more violent. A lot more home run swing, sparks flying off the swords. It's just pretty cool. And then the way the first season ended, you're like, man, that's a pretty good way to put a bow on that season, and can't wait for season 2 now. So I am totally into 17th and 18th century stuff. I mean, the Musketeers started off in 1690, and Black Sails, I think, said it was 1718, something like that.
Yeah.
So, or 1710, I don't know, 20 years difference. So
how many seasons have you gotten through on the Musketeer?
just the one.
Just the one?
Yeah.
Looks like there's 2 seasons so far.
Yeah, and I think the second one is still in its run. I don't think the run is finished yet.
Could be.
Or I could be getting confused with Black Sails, which is also just one season with a second season going on.
Oh, here we go.
But yeah, check those out, man, if you ever get a chance.
Yep, we got 1 season, 2 season, last aired. Yep, it's finishing. Second season looks like it might be finishing up, or will be finishing up the end of this month.
Excellent.
So it's kind of nice. Only 10 episodes a series or a season. So that's I kind of like the way the BBC does that. It doesn't get too far ahead of itself.
Well, and the episodes don't get watered down. When you've got 23 or whatever episodes, 22 episodes in an American season, I feel like the TV shows get watered down in the middle.
Yeah, they get stretched out.
Well, we got a lot of shit. We got a lot of time we got to just use here. So here's a tangent. But with the BBC stuff, they have a story, they tell it, done.
And according to Wikipedia here, the 3rd season of The Musketeers has been picked up and is going to start. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it was picked up in February, so there will be a 3rd season.
Nice.
No dates on when that's going to come out yet, but you guys can go now, get caught up on the first 2 seasons, and then voila, you'll be ready for season 3.
Yes.
Which I guess the way these airings look, it'll probably be January of next year.
Go figure.
Because that's the way these seem to be running. Looks like January, February, March for their episodes. That's the way the first 2 seasons were. So there you go.
Yay!
Winter, chicken dinner. Well, I watched some TV too this week, trying to get caught up on some TV shows that I've been behind on, particularly Gotham. And I have gone and binged watched. Last night I binged watched 3 episodes of it. I am 1 episode away from being caught up. And since it's on hiatus until after the March Madness tournament, I don't know, can I say March Madness without being under trademark infringement? The basketball.
Possibly.
The basketball shenanigan tournament that takes place in a month starting with M.
It's the post-February panic.
There you go. So I'm like, well, this is a perfect opportunity to get caught up before I get behind again. And I gotta say, I'm liking pieces of the TV series, but it is definitely at the bottom of my list of comic book TV shows that I'm going to keep watching. So if this one doesn't, if for some reason or if something else comes out that bumps it off, like Constantine gets picked up and then this one's going to get moved back down on the list. So it's on that borderline of being dropped or just becoming too far behind to keep up with it on a week-to-week basis.
Well, did it move up any on the list when you found out that Jada Pinkett Smith is not coming back for season 2?
It did, but I don't know. I think my biggest problem is I don't feel like this is telling an accurate enough story. I feel like it's telling a Batman story and it's making Jim Gordon into Batman. And because he's the hero of this tale, except the villains that he's going against they're Batman's villains. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I don't know if he's taking on his villains more than they're just giving us hints that those people are still there, or they're there and they haven't turned super villainy yet.
Right.
If super villainy can be words.
Sure, I don't see why not.
Well, let's go with that.
Therefore, it's a word.
New Words by Kip.
So, yeah, I mean, maybe that's true. Maybe it's just the way that I'm looking at it. I want to see more of, because in the comic books, at least my reading of the comic books, the Penguin is already established in the comic book. He's already established as a crime boss. So this kind of lead up to how he becomes the crime boss, I kind of like. But that kind of fits with the tone, and I feel like he's a type of villain that Jim Gordon would be up against, because Jim Gordon's out to get rid of organized crime. You know, he's trying to combat organized crime, but he's really spending so much of his time going against, you know, people like the origin of the Scarecrow, or the Electrocutioner, or, you know, these other big supervillain type characters. And granted, they're not, you know, the Scarecrow isn't the actual Scarecrow yet. It's just how he becomes the Scarecrow. And Jim Gordon can't save him. That's why he turns into this, you know, that's why he's going to be the Scarecrow. Or, you know, things like that. I get that. I don't know. I would like to see them spend more time on more down-to-earth things and less time on these super villains. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me, and maybe it's just what I'm looking for. You know, I'm getting my supervillain and my superhero kick from TV shows like Arrow and The Flash, which I think, and even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to an extent, that I thought Gotham would be, since it really doesn't take place with any superheroes. You know, there's no superheroes in this TV show. I thought maybe it would be a little bit more down to earth, and I don't know that it's filling the niche that I thought it was going to fill. And maybe it's just me, and maybe my expectations were just off.
Yeah, and you can't have a show called Gotham and not have elements of what you're used to from the Batman universe. Even if it's just supervillains as kids.
Right.
You know, I think they felt like it had to be there.
Right.
And I agree with that decision. If I'm watching a show called Gotham and the only character I recognize is Jim Gordon, I'm turning that shit off.
That's true. I can agree with that. And so maybe it's just not filling that void for me, or maybe it's just that the other shows, I feel like the other shows are doing it so much better. Like I am loving The Flash. I can't seem to get enough of that show. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just, and maybe, you know, maybe a little bit of it too is I'm I'm more of a Marvel fan, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just gets automatically bumped up a little higher than it should be. But I'm loving Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I know Flash is DC, but I'm loving The Flash too. And those two shows, those two shows hold the top right now. Those are shows that I am completely caught up on. And hell, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. last week, I watched the day it came, it comes on Tuesday nights. I was watching it Tuesday night. And I don't think I've watched a show live, a non-sporting event live in probably 2 or 3 years, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hit that mark for me. So that's got to be saying something.
Yeah, that is saying something. If you're watching it the night it comes out, holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the guy who can't even see a movie the day.
But at least not in the theater anyway.
Yeah, for the first 8 months that it's out.
Yeah. The part 3 of that movie came out and you're watching the first one.
Yep. Yeah, there's actually a few of them like that too. It's kind of sad. But, I can't say that Gotham's doing it all wrong, because I am enjoying some of the parts of it. I'm enjoying actually quite a few of the parts of it. It's just not, I guess to put it simply, it's the bottom of the best comic book TV shows that are out right now. That's not all that bad, because these TV shows, these comic book TV shows, are just, in my opinion, they're knocking socks off. These things are really good, and they're doing a great job with them.
Yeah, it's like the golden age of TV right now. It seems like damn near every night on every station there's something worth watching, and I can't ever remember it being like that. So it's making it, my DVR's having to do CrossFit training just to keep up.
Yep.
And I'm gonna have to quit my job just so I can keep up on TV shows, because right now having a full-time job is cutting it. I can't watch TV like I want to.
And it's only going to get worse when Daredevil comes out next month.
I know, it's craziness. I'm looking forward to that too. I mean, the trailers look fantastic. So, and I haven't even finished the season of House of Cards yet.
Yep.
Holy
I haven't
cow!
seen the first season of House of Cards yet. I haven't seen the first season of Orange is the New Black. I haven't seen. There's some stuff that I've been told on the Amazon Instant Video that are original programming that I need to check out, that I haven't even done yet. I don't even know the login for that. I have it, but I don't even know the login for it, because it's my wife's account and not mine, which I have to look and see if there's a way to link those two together, so I don't have to log into her stuff and see all her advertisements for stupid shit. But,
That's
real life problems right there, right?
Exactly.
Real world problems.
First world problems? I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to say.
Whatever. So, all right, you got anything else for tonight, Kip? Or are we going to call this?
I think we're done. I think we've bored people long enough.
I can agree with that. So, all right, everybody, you know the drill. Go check us out on our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. Kip and I are talking about things we can do differently to this blog, so keep tuning into there. Maybe you'll see something new and amazing, like, maybe a review or something.
Like actual posts. It's crazy talk.
Don't expect too much. We suck at this. You can follow us on Google+. You can follow us on Facebook. Just search for Geek Vice. You can follow Kip on Twitter at Kip Killigan. That's KIPKILLAGIN. It's spelled on the screen if you're watching.
Right, if I would talk. There it is.
Yay. And you can follow me at Geek Vice. And if you don't know how to spell Geek Vice, I don't know how the hell you found this to listen to it. So you can follow us on Twitter. You can email us at geekvice@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody, for listening to our ramblings. And email us and tell us why you think what we should do at Planet Comic Con next year, or tell me why I'm an idiot for thinking Gotham is not as good as Arrow or The Flash.
And write and tell us what costume Morph should wear next year's Planet Comic Con.
Yes.
I'm thinking Poison Ivy myself, but
you know what? I was thinking there was a few Deadpool costumes there, which I got to give those guys props for those. Full spandex from head to toe is not something I would be willing to do. So got to give them credit for that.
Yep, I will agree.
And on that note, we will see you next week.
See ya.
Later.